The drones in Halo are almost as annoying as people trying to fly drones in real life. Oh, look at me, look how cinematic my video looks now. But one thing for sure can be said about the drones, and that is that they are a very difficult enemy to best in Halo. Not necessarily alone, but when combined with other forces of the Covenant, the drones can be incredibly hard to take down. But what if you, yes you, Daniel, had to fight a drone in real life with just your bare hands? One-on-one, fist to claw, or I guess whatever the drones have, it's kind of a claw. Would you come out on top, or would you be destroyed by this giant bug monster man from space? Well, we're gonna find out in this video, so stay tuned. Have you guys heard all the buzz about Audible? Yeah, you're right, I'll show myself out. This video is sponsored by Audible, and down in the description of this video you can sign up for an absolutely free trial. You'll get one free audiobook that you can keep forever even if you cancel. And yes, all of the Halo lore novels are on Audible right now. So head on down to the link in the description to sign up for your absolutely free trial of Audible. The creatures in question go by the name drones, roaches, and buggers by the UNSC, but their true name are the Yin-Mi. Their role in the Covenant is very basic. Drones can make good engineers and even better soldiers. Like most insects of Earth, the drone society is hive mind in nature. However, that doesn't mean that drones are not sentient. There are some drones who go against the pack, killing other drones and destroying their eggs. Sort of interesting considering how normal insects work. But then again, most insects aren't as large as these buggers. Speaking about their size, drones are about the same size as a jackal. Their heights range from around 5 foot 10 inches to almost 7 feet tall, and they also can weigh anywhere from 150 to 250 pounds. These things are not a normal beetle, they're way bigger, and they're pretty deadly as well. We have evidence of certain drones carrying human marines with all of their gear and weapons off of the ground. Interestingly, due to the drone's weight, they actually don't fly on their home planet. The only way that they can physically fly is with an anti-gravity device located on their wings. And they can fly so well in planets like Earth because Earth's gravity is much lower than their home planet of Palomok. Palomok has a gravity 2 times the gravity of Earth's. We're definitely going to have to keep that in mind when we think about how these guys would fare in hand-to-hand combat versus another human. But first, I think we need to establish how these guys fit in with the Covenant to begin with, not only in hand-to-hand combat, but with their weapons. Drones are a support force. They almost never go in alone. Think of them almost like a flying grunt. They are cannon fodder, yes, but in high enough numbers they can prove to be very deadly. They are also a fabulous distraction. Often how the Covenant will use the drones is use them as a high-up distraction. Send them in first. Let the Marines, let the Spartans shoot at the drones way up in the air. While the UNSC forces are distracted by the drones, the ground troops like grunts, jackals, and elites move in on the ground. Yes, a ton of drones are going to be lost in the fight, but remember that these things are insects and they reproduce very quickly. Much like the grunts, they are completely cannon fodder, and the Covenant doesn't care if a million of them get killed, as long as the mission is complete. But what we're trying to answer in this video is how would you fare in a one-on-one hand-to-claw battle with a drone? Because in normal Halo combat, these things are used as a big swarm. They all have plasma pistols and they're flying in the air. But there are still many aspects about the drone that I think would make them formidable opponents in hand-to-hand combat. For one, they have very long claws on each of their extremities. Now, I don't think these are anywhere near the length of the claws on a jackal, but they still look pretty deadly. They are also surrounded by an entire body armor made of chitin. Now, this chitin-based body armor is not strong enough to stop a bullet, as these guys are pretty easily killed by small arms fire from the UNSC. In Halo 3 ODST, you play as an ODST. These are non-augmented, non-super soldiers of the UNSC. That's a lot of acronyms in one little sentence. But in Halo 3 ODST, you can melee a drone and kill it with one shot. Now, you are hitting it with the butt of your gun, but even sometimes when you're punching it with a fist, you can still kill it in one hit. Now, I don't think that any random Joe walking down the street could kill a giant 7-foot-tall human bugman monster with one punch, but I do think that these things would go down pretty quickly with a lot of assault. Even so, that's assuming that this thing decides to fight you on the ground, which I think for the bugger would be an incredibly bad mistake. This is the first enemy that we've talked about on this series that has the power of flight, and while during this fight it is fist to claw, it would not have a plasma pistol or needler, which is commonly the weapon that drones use, I think it would be fair to let it still fly with its anti-gravity flying device. Now, we don't necessarily know the flight time that drones have. We don't know how long they can go without charging or refueling or whatever kind of fuel or energy that they use to fly. But we can assume that a drone can fly for a pretty long time without having to recharge or refuel, which is going to make a hand-to-hand fight very difficult for you. All the drone has to do is swoop down right on top of you where you are most vulnerable. From here, it could pick you up, which we have evidence of. It picks up a Marine in Halo 3, or it could scratch at you with its long claws on both its arms and its legs. But all of that is assuming that the bugger is smart enough to use all of those tactics against you. Like I said before, these things are still insects and they operate on a hive mind. Their strength in combat comes from numbers, not an individual skill. If you're going to lose a fight to a drone army, it'll be due to you being overwhelmed by countless drones, not one drone which has the skill to take out an entire squad. So while the drones do have an innate advantage against humans in a fist-to-claw fight, I don't necessarily think that they have the intelligence to use those skills. But of course, that does depend on what kind of drone you are fighting. Like with anything in the Covenant, there are different classes of drones. There are miner drones, which are generally green in color, and then there are leader drones, which are generally gold in color. Depending on the drone, you may have a much harder fight on your hands. A leader drone may be much more likely to pick you up and attack you from the air, while a miner drone may not be that efficient. But no matter what drone you are fighting, it's time to talk strategy. We've already established that the drones have pretty sharp claws and also a pretty thick armor. Their armor isn't that thick, it's probably similar to the armor of the grunts. Thick enough to be considered fairly tough, but not thick enough to stop bullets. At first glance, it might seem like there are no weaknesses to the bugger, especially since there isn't much known about detailed drone anatomy. But I think the best strategy would be going for the antenna. Bugs use their antenna to feel the world around them. While they do have eyes and hands, and those all feel as well, antennae are very sensitive to the surrounding area. If you were to rip off the feather-like antenna of a bugger, you would most likely blind it. Normally, when light is applied to cockroaches, they scatter, and the cockroaches try to find a place where they can hide and get back into the darkness. But when you remove the antenna of a cockroach, even if you apply light to the cockroach, a very intense light, it will not scatter. You haven't taken away the cockroach's eyes, just the antenna, but you've essentially blinded it. Now that's all well and good, just get the antenna off the 7-foot-tall bugman monster. It's still going to be a difficult thing to do, but that's, I think, what your best strategy would be. Fortunately for us, there are no 7-foot-tall bugman monsters on Earth, so we have nothing to compare this to. But if we did, we should just do the responsible thing and nuke the entire planet. I want to hear what you guys have to think down below in the comments section. Comment down below how you would go about fighting a bugger. Do you think we could win? Do you think we're pretty much screwed? I would also like to hear any other suggestions for this series. I'm thinking about talking about the crawler in a future episode. If you click the logo on the left, you can subscribe to my channel and make tons of interesting Halo content for you to enjoy. And the thumbnail on the right answers the question, could you beat a grunt in hand-to-hand combat, if you hadn't seen that already. I've also made a Jacko one, by the way, so you should check that one out too. I want to thank you all for watching. Please stay notable, and I will see you in the next video.